Good morning. I've had a lot of people ask me about my own personal births and thought I'd share a little bit about that today. So, if you don't like to hear birth stories, then you probably should just stop this video and go somewhere else. Find something else more entertainment. But if you love birth stories, I've got some few I'll give to you today and share with you, my friends. Well, I've actually had 20 pregnancies. 10 of them were miscarriages at different stages. One of them was a D&C. So it's been an interesting ride for me. My first pregnancy, things went really well, and I enjoyed being pregnant, and it was great. But I went into labor early. At 35 weeks, I had a placental abruption and went to the hospital because of bleeding, and had my first child 2 hours later, so it's a pretty fast birth. But he had to be put in the NICU for hyaline membrane disease, and that was a whole long experience. He was in the NICU for 2 weeks, and so as a first-time mom trying to overcome so much, it was a challenge. And I'm very grateful for that birth to have my husband by my side and my mom. She was just a stone pillar at that time. My second child came 2 years later, and I was pregnant with her and started having contractions and asked my doctor and asked my friends, and they all said, "Oh no, you're not having contractions." So I dismissed them. And finally at 27 weeks, I went into the doctor and said, "I really think I'm having contractions." And they did an ultrasound and saw that yes, I was dilating, and went across to the hospital at that point for observations, and ended up to be tons of medications. It was really not a fun experience yet again, as they tried to stop my labor. And then I stayed in the hospital for a while until I got to go home. And then she actually was born at 36 weeks, but she was a vaginal breech, which at that time, second time mom, didn't think much about it. Now I look back, I'm very grateful for a doctor that allowed me to deliver my breech vaginally. My third child, I went to labor early again, but at 20 weeks with her. So a whole another lots of hospitalizations in and out, a lot of fear, a lot of issues with that. The good thing with her is I was able to carry her till she was 37 weeks, so a little better. And then finally when I get pregnant with my fourth child, I was in a different state and decided no more medications. I can't do this anymore. And I had a midwife at the time, and I asked, "Do we have another choice? I get so sick when I'm pregnant and so sick with the medications to stop everything." And so she actually put me on an herbal tincture, and that worked. Like the breathing, everything else I'd been on never seemed to help. It just made me sicker and worse and made it so I couldn't enjoy being pregnant. It was really hard. But with the tincture, I was able to live a modified life, but could make my contractions slow down or stop within 20 minutes. So that was a game changer for me. Once again, that child was born at 36 weeks and had some breathing difficulties. And then my next child was once again controlled that pregnancy and preterm labor with the herbs. And he was born at 36 weeks too. And each of these labors were really short, within a few hours, not very long of each other. And then he had issues after he was born with apnea and bradycardias, which means that he would stop breathing and wouldn't continue. So he'd have to be woken up and stimulated. So that one was another long learning curve for 6 months. Lots of stories I could tell about that. My sister helped us with that, and it was just stories. That's all I could say. Anyways, then my sixth child, carried her again to 37 weeks this time, was excited for that. She was actually my longest birth, surprising. Went to labor with her in the morning, didn't deliver until like 2 a.m. the next morning. And then when she was born, she had sugar level problems and was put in the NICU again. So another child, another NICU. It just seemed to be time after time. And then after that, when I had my postpartum checkup, my midwife actually found a lump in my throat. And that lump turned out to be cancer. So in between my 6th child and my 7th child, I was treated with cancer. And so there's an age break there. I had thyroid cancer. And that's another story, another vlog day. Anyways, so then child number 7 had issues with him and got pregnant with him, thank goodness. And he was breech for a lot of the pregnancy. So had that scare and trying to figure out what to do, and doctors considered it as dangerous, but I'd already delivered a vaginal breech, so I was confident it'd be okay, but they weren't supportive. And so I had a friend who was my doula, and also the doctor did recommend that I do something called moxibustion, which at the time I thought, what the heck? That's weird. But it was an herb that you burn. The acupuncturists and pressurists know about it. And I burned it one night, and by the next day, my child was not breech anymore. It was amazing, amazing to me. And it just opened my eyes to other options and other alternatives that are out there. So he did turn head down, but I woke up with him and contracting, and my husband went and got my doula, who was in the next room, and he went to move the child out of my room. She came back in my room to deliver the baby's head, and it was just that quick. Within like 30, 40 minutes after I woke up, he was born, which was surprising, but amazing. And then my next child, it was another boy, and his pregnancy getting better, getting healthier, used the herbs again, and went into labor with him at 35 weeks, and ended up that the doctor came in and told me I had some time before delivering, and I got ticked. It's one of those funny moments. And she stepped out of the room, and I pushed that baby out onto the bed. Baby almost fell on the floor, but the nurse was standing there and caught the baby. So surprised us yet again. And then I have child number 9. And child number 9 went where I was at church in labor with her. Didn't realize it. My doula was sitting next to me at church and said, we need to go to the hospital. Like, whatever. So we did. I actually went to the hospital, followed them, and lo and behold, I was in labor. I didn't realize it, but she was born 20 minutes after we got to the hospital. Then we fast forward to child number 10, and I determined this time I'm tired of going to the hospital last minute and doctors not catching the baby. Why am I doing that? I want to try a home birth and a planned home birth. So we did that, and my midwife knew that I deliver quickly. So she actually talked to my husband about what to do to deliver if she couldn't make it in time, no matter how fast she drove. So I woke up and had a contraction, and my husband said, I'm calling the midwife, just like the show. I'm calling the midwife. And I said, oh gosh, this is ridiculous. He said, no, I'm not listening to you. I'm calling midwife. So I was like, fine, whatever. So he called the midwife, and lo and behold, those next few contractions were really tough. And so I got in the tub, and he's talking to the midwife who called EMS, and everybody's rushing to get here. And he put down the phone because I said, baby's coming. And sure enough, that baby came out breech, and my husband helped deliver the baby breech in the water. And it was a great water birth, very calm and controlled. And the baby had the umbilical cord twice around its neck, and he slipped that off just like she had taught him. And then he laid the baby on me, and it was just crazy and awesome all at the same time. So a lot of different birth experiences, and that's the basic of all the stories. I've not gone into any depth about them because that would take us forever. I think I could talk hours about each of the births, but I just wanted to answer that question so that you could see it's been a variety of experiences. Most of them have been hospital births, except for an accidental home birth and a planned home birth, and pregnancies have not been, wow, that's so wonderful. It's been a tough road, and had to work to overcome a lot and to learn a lot. So it's not that I have 10 kids because I love being pregnant. It's not that I have 10 kids because it's so easy. It's hard. It's a choice. We've decided to have this. We've decided to take this adventure. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed hearing the basic stories. Maybe we'll get into something more in depth a little later, but that's all we got time for today. Talk to you later.